have to go live now. Holler at y'all later. Bye. I don't even know how to stop this. Okay. Yes, I do. All right. Hey, y'all. We were on TikTok Live. TikTok Living.
I have a theory before we get started.
Okay.
If you look at your TikToks, at your videos that you sent, like the histories of your videos, at you will see a number on the video. That's how many times it's been viewed. Now tell me if the ones that you saying the Black Girl Follow Train, if it has less numbers than your other ones.
Okay, let me go look at that.
Because if I'm thinking what I'm thinking, if my theory is correct, TikTok know they wrong for that.
Okay, so hold on. Oh, I'm at 2893. I'm on 2,900 people.
That's what I'm saying. And so, I'm at 2428.
So my Black Girl Follow Train videos are, the very last one I did was like at 628. The ones prior to that, well, I got one at 994. I got one at 557. I think it just depends.
Because other ones mine is at 290. 290, 396.
Yeah, it depends. I think it's an algorithm thing more so than, they are doing the thing. So, hey guys, first of all, welcome to the first episode of the Size of the Year. Hi guys, how y'all doing? Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Real quick before we get started, make sure you guys go to the Size Up Official Podcast over on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. So make sure you definitely do that. And make sure that you guys are following us. We have plenty of episodes on YouTube for you to catch up on. But we definitely like when people go live with us, so y'all can comment. Y'all can always give additional feedback later on. And we're gonna go from there. What I'm going to say here is, right now, there's a thing towards the end of the year of 2022, when TikTok has this trend, and it's still going on. It's called the Black Girl Follow Train. And I don't know if we talked about this. We might have talked about this on the last video that we did, or last recording that we did. But the Black Girl Follow Train is over on TikTok. Now, this is a thing that I have been frustrated with for years, because we started the Size Up. I initially started Size Up back in 2016. We stopped, and then we started back up probably before the pandemic. Wendy, was it 18 or 19? I can't remember.
I think it was 19.
Was it 19? Okay. So we started the Size Up back. I'm gonna say 19. I feel like it was 18 though, but don't quote me on that. So when we started back, we hadn't gotten to this point. And I'm gonna get back on the slides and stuff. I haven't. I've been tired. I've been going through medical stuff, so I haven't been able to keep up with what we normally would do. So the quality of our show kind of has changed a little bit because we've just been talking. However, my goal is for us to get monetized, right? So over on the TikTok, which we are going to have a Size Official Podcast TikTok page really, really soon. I got to get with my son, and I've been asleep the majority of the day. So you got to stay on top of the young people to get them to do what you need them to do. But what we want to do is we want to monetize. Typically with our podcasts, is what you want. As a creator, that's what you want. And so over on TikTok, they have this thing called the Black Girl Follow Train that Wendy kind of put me on. And I went and I started looking, and I'm seeing all these different creative videos with all these creators, and there are business women, that are on there too. They're making body butters, they're doing hair, they're doing t-shirts, they're decorating. I do some decorations because I have an event planning company, so I need to be on there doing that. I'm a bartender, a licensed bartender. I put some of my drinks on there. I'm about to elevate that and get that to a place where I need it. So just some different things. Just thinking about kind of what we need to do, what I need to do to kind of showcase my talents and everything. I can sing, I could be on there sing, it's so many different things. So you have different people on there, they have different talents, and they have people that are following them, and they have a large following over on TikTok. Now I don't know what it is. I think you have to have at least 100K to start getting monetized. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. But the more followers that you get, the closer that you get to that monetization. And then of course you can start getting brand deals even before you get to that 100K. So you can actually start technically monetizing your social media prior to then. But the other part of that is that what they're trying to do is trying to get the numbers up for our other channels of social media, so that YouTube is really, really hard to penetrate in the YouTube market. So the YouTube channels, the I don't think people are really checking for Facebook like that right now, but the YouTube and the Instagram, they're trying to really get those numbers up on those ends too, because it's so hard to do it and it's so hard to build a following. So I want everybody that is listening to this podcast, that see us, that hear us, go over to TikTok, especially if you are a Black woman, a Black female that's in business. Go over to TikTok if you're a creator. Go over to TikTok, get on that Black girl follow train. There are a ton of Black women there ready to support you. And we're gonna leave it at that. So make sure y'all do it right now. I'm almost at 2,900 followers, and this is just in a few weeks' time. Like I was on TikTok, I may have had 100 or 200 followers. I can't remember.
I had like 263. That's what I started out with.
Right.
Now I'm at 24,989 or something like that. So I got to get my follows back up.
Right. So and even if you do it every day, and so every day I've made it a point to go and look, because there's plenty of women still jumping on the train, and it's women all over the country. So what I'm doing is,
and what makes me, well, it's so funny now, it's now a Black man follow train,
which I ain't got no problem with. Ain't got no problem with it all.
I don't have it. I'm just stripping.
And if I see some of the guys on there and I like your content, I'm gonna follow you. We gotta support one another, and everybody else has that down except for us for whatever reason. So we gotta support us. And I have no problem with that. So make sure y'all go and subscribe to the Size Up Official Podcast over on YouTube. Make sure y'all do that. Let's get into this stuff. So
let's get into it.
So I'm gonna start with the girls over at the Potomac.
Girl, I saw that today. I was watching it today.
The geriatric fight has begun. Karen has been activated. Okay.
But here's my thing though. With Sharice though, you on Karen's butt for not being a friend, but then you on Carlos King's show saying that y'all was never really friends. What's going on?
That's what I'm confused about. And Karen was like, you begging me to be your friend. And so I don't understand what the problem is. If we can't just be, I'm cordial with you, I'm out with everybody, I don't have to interact with you, we ain't got to have no personal relationship whatsoever. I don't think we ever gonna get the real tea as to what the issue is between them. I do know that Sharice did accuse, the last time Sharice was on the platform as a main, what is it, champagne flute holder? Is that what they got?
I don't know, but what I heard is she's no longer in that house where she got the champagne run.
No, she's not. Because your husband was not gonna keep that up. And what are you doing? I think she was an event planner. I think that was her job. But I don't know that Sharice, the money that you had with your husband, with who he was, versus the money that you have now. Your kids are grown, so you ain't got no child support payments coming in. I don't know that. I think y'all might be past the alimony part. And if she gets to go all the way back to when she got a divorce, then Karen gets to go all the way back to when you were accusing Karen of cheating on her husband. That's what I'm gonna say. She gets to go all the way back, because if you bring it up when your folks died, her mom and daddy died 5 years ago, like within months of each other, right?
Right, but then that was the same time, around the same time. I think Sharice is one of which one she was talking about? Her
Her
mom,
father, I think,
her
passed.
father. Okay, I
So
think that was the same time. So you
if
got to
my
think
if
about it.
my folk died and your folk died, you can't. I got to come. I'm dealing with my dad. I think I can't remember who died first. I think her mom died first, and then
And
like
then
probably like
a,
within
another month or
9 months.
so.
No, it was a
Oh,
little longer period of time, but it was stretched out over time. But she's dealing with her. One of the parents were sick, so she's having to take care of the other parent while the other parent has
mm-hmm.
died. That's a lot on a person, and so for you
Mm-hmm.
to expect me to 100% be there, she sent you a text message and said, "Bro, I'm praying for you."
At least you can accept that. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was me, I'm sorry. I'm in my, when my husband passed. No. When my father passed,
Mm-hmm.
my dear friend, my best friend Cassandra, her sister passed around the same time my dad passed.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect for her to be by my side. We each told each other, "I'm sorry if we said to each other we was there. I'll give you a hug."
Right.
We in our each other prayers. Then the next year, Ren passed, and then like a week or two after Ren passed, the woman that raised her grandmother passed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I never expected her to put aside her grief to come console me because we
And
were both grieving
yeah,
together.
we going through at the same time. So how do you
You need to
expect
get
me
over
to
here.
be there for you 100%? And I'm going through basically the same thing. It's hard, and to not have that type of understanding, you know why Karen is not your friend, because you being and I wouldn't be your friend either, because this is how you acting like this. So they activated on Karen got activated 110%, and I was here for it all. I was here for the activation. um so Mia and Jacqueline, let me tell you what I think about Mia and Jacqueline. I feel like Mia and Jacqueline has concocted something initially. Initially, it was Jacqueline, you're gonna have to bring it. I want you to be on the show with me. I want you to stay on, but they're not gonna keep you on. They'll push you to the side like they did a scholar last year. And so I would rather us come up with something. Let's come up with something. So we had some type of beef or some kind of conflict. So that in us having our conflict, you know, what is you laughing at?
Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah.
I just sent it to you.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So them coming up with the conflict, I think that Mia might have said something to Jacqueline that set her off. And I think
What she trying to do on the live? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm
uh-huh.
sorry. Go ahead.
Mia said something to Jacqueline that sent Jacqueline off, that set her off. And what she said, what I believe the comment was close your legs to married men. Kind of, and I think in a way, Jacqueline felt like she was implying that she was trying to sleep with G, and I think that's where they turned left. I believe that's where they turned left. Again, I think that initially the argument, because the argument was petty about your kids. Now let me say this: your nanny is my sister, so if anybody gonna keep my kids, it's gonna be my sister. I'm gonna trust my sister over everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking for my own nanny. I don't care if you hire her or not. That's my sister. So my children are gonna go with my sister. So you mad because my children are with my sister, your nanny. You got a problem with it. And we supposed to be sisters. We took you in when you ain't had nowhere else to go. I'm not saying you owe me, but if my sister is your nanny, I don't understand what your problem, your issue is. Just my thought process. Just my thought process. So I think they concocted that to have a beef, and then it ended up turning into more because Mia cut a little too low below the belt. And now it has spiraled into this mess because we've seen the videos and stuff that they've posted on social media. The family members on each side talking about the other one. It's been crazy. It's been ridiculous. Um, with that being said, do I think their friendship is about to get repaired anytime soon? Nope, because they still throwing daggers outside of right now. They still throwing daggers. So I don't think that's gonna get repaired. I don't know if Jacqueline's going to be invited to the reunion.
Oh, I think she will.
Um, I need her to say more than one sentence because the
Either
scholar,
that or it's gonna be like Diane Jenkins and be like over on Skype or something like that.
yeah,
Or Zoom.
yeah. But I definitely need them to get that together. So speaking of, so Real Housewives of Potomac, we're gonna see the rest of the mess unfold. Robin, sweetie, I still don't think you get married. It's a rumor saying that they're not coming back because of this Copen State lawsuit that's taking place.
Who?
Robin and Juan.
Oh, so this will be her last season?
They're saying that. That's the rumor. That's the word on the curb. That's the word on the street. Is that Robin is going to step away from the Real Housewives of Potomac for now because of the lawsuit that Juan is involved in. There's a student that filed the lawsuit against Copeland State, stating that one of the coaches on the coaching staff catfished him into believing that he was a student trying to date him or something like that. It was an inappropriate thing that took place with one of the coaches, and that one was privy or knew about the situation, and didn't say anything. And so there's a lawsuit that's filed against it. It doesn't look good. I don't think if one did turn the blind eye and knew about the situation, knew what was going on, yeah, that definitely doesn't look good. It was a male coach, if I'm not mistaken, catfish and pretending to be a female student or something, trying to get at the player, the basketball player. And one knew about the situation, didn't say anything, didn't report it. So I don't know how that's going to play out. But from my understanding, maybe the lawyers are saying it might not be a good idea for them to be on the show. Really, I don't think one really wants to be on camera, so that might be a good thing for one. I know Robin wants to be there, but who knows? So that's the word on the curb. Allegedly, that is the word on the curb. Is that Robin will not be returning next season, which I'm okay with because Robin doesn't really, she's bringing it a little bit more this season, but she's going down the wrong road to do it. She's doing too much, and it's going too much off on the deep end for me. So I don't know that y'all gonna have this wedding because y'all still ain't married to this day. Y'all just engaged, and it is what it is. Moving right along. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We have some exits that are taking place right now, and then we have potential added additions to the show. One person that is leaving, who I'm glad that is leaving, is Lisa Rinna.
Yeah. Her
We
contract didn't get renewed.
her contract.
Well, I don't. She can say whatever she wants to say.
Them
Her
folks said we not
contract,
renewing your contract, but
right? You're too much of a liability, lady.
Very much so. I don't agree. I guess they're gonna let her say what she wants to say, and that's fine. And dandy, and maybe they'll come out with another behind the scenes Real Housewives book to tell us the truth. I don't know, but definitely Lisa Rinna's exit is. There are some people that are mad about it. I don't know why y'all are upset about it because she's a problem. She's a problem. I'm interested to see how Erica Jane is going to act without Lisa Rinna being present. I'm very interested in seeing how that's going to play out. If she even stays. The other person that's leaving that you informed me of prior to us getting on was Diana.
Yeah.
She is also, I never saw her point. I didn't see the point of her being on the show. She just didn't make sense to me at all, period. So I'm okay with her being gone because she didn't make or break the show. But word on the curb is Nicolette Sheridan of what's the name of that show?
Desperate Housewives.
Desperate Housewives is in talks with Bravo, and she is the ex of Harry Hamlin, who is the current husband of Lisa Rinna. That's gonna be interesting. She brings drama. I think Nicolette can bring it on the show. Now I don't know what her dynamic and what her relationships were going to be, or who would be bringing her on to the show, but I think that that's going to be interesting if they do bring her into the fold. So that is the word on the curb for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Oh Lord, Real Housewives of the Salt Lake City.
I haven't been
Woo.
watching. I'm sorry.
Oh no. The only thing we're gonna talk about is this 6.5 year sentence that
Oh
Jen
yeah.
Shaw had. I'm over them teaming up and teaming up to jump on Heather, because Heather is my girl. I don't like it. Heather is my favorite on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She just is. And they're having their season finale, which I'm grateful for, on this Wednesday. Jen Shaw will not be at the reunion. We had already discussed that. Due to everything kind of looking bad. I think once she pled guilty, that was the nail in the coffin for her as far as Real Housewives was concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Stewart has turned on her, which is what I told y'all last year. Stewart then turned, because Stewart had cut a good old deal, and Stewart turned, and they got some other people besides Stewart to also testify against Jen Shaw for less time, or lower for less time, or lower penalties as far as this fraud case is concerned. And so, but Jen did not get the 10 to 12 years that they said that she was going to get. So I'm imagining that they negotiated a 6.5 year sentence for her. She'll probably get less time than that, because if they have a good behavior clause in there, or whatever that situation looks like, she may not do all of her time. So Jen will not be on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. That and according to Andy, they don't think that there's ever going to be an opportunity for her to come back. He does want to do like he did with Teresa, which is have like an in-depth interview, and I don't know if they would be making that happen right now. With her being sentenced and stuff, I don't know how much of her case she can actually talk about or discuss now that all of that has taken place. Do you know when she's set to be due in court?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
I mean, not in court, to turn herself in. I'm sorry.
Nope.
Okay. So yeah, we just gotta kind of look out for that. Let me see here. So yeah. Um, we will see. Okay. So um that's all I have for reality. I know you don't watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, so I
Yeah.
have to do those reviews separately.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, no, you can go ahead and do your review. I can
well,
still make a comment.
they're doing their reunion. Of course, this past season, I'll do a little short recap of the season.
Mm-hmm.
This past season, Destiny and Melody had fallen out from last season because Melody overheard Destiny um uh discussing Melody with Letitia, who is Letitia and Melody had fallen out prior to the season before, because Letitia accused Melody of trying to destroy her marriage. Melody's marriage was destroyed because, of course, we all know Martell cheated on her, had a baby on her, that sort of thing. And so that you're dealing with their divorce and how they are dealing with co-parenting and how that's going. You're also dealing with the fact that everybody's kind of turning on Melody for the most part. There's a new kid on the block. Her name is Stormy. She is the creator of Canvas Beauty Products. And she has a really, really thick Southern accent. She's from Mississippi, but she's really,
Mm-hmm.
really smart businesswoman. She's selling those Canvas. I've had some Canvas beauty products, so she's doing amazing at what she's doing. Actually, better in my opinion than Destiny is, and I would rather her than Destiny be on the show, because Destiny has not really shown. When you're on a reality show, you got to show yourself, if that makes sense. You got to show who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be open. And of course, when Destiny got a divorce, there, according to their divorce decree or whatever, she could not discuss their divorce on the show. But you done been divorced for over a year now. In this past season, you didn't really give us anything more. And the producers had even complained that Destiny was being difficult. So I don't believe that Destiny needs to be back on the show. They also talked about Miss Wanda, who's Letitia's mom, who Miss Wanda is like a ghetto tripe. I mean, she's really, really hood. She stays in everybody else's business. You're too old to be in these folks' business. You need to be over there where you stay. Leave them folk alone. Yeah, that's her mom, but definitely you don't need to be mixed up in those people's business like that. Go to the nursing home or the old folks home and be in their business over there and get out of these folks' business. She talks about Melody and Martell's children, and she's talked about them twice now. Um, she came up with some type of apology, but I don't think she felt like she did anything wrong because she kept defending herself when they
Right.
saying, "Hey, yo, you talking about my kids? I was talking about your baby daddy." No, first of all, what people don't seem to realize is your TV loud. What people don't seem to realize is that kids are involved and kids can go back and see things on the internet. So, for instance, they made Martell go and apologize to Martell's son because Martell's son had called, I mean, not Marceau's son, I'm sorry. They made Martell apologize to Marceau's son, who's Tisha's husband, because Martell made the comment saying that Marceau had 20 girlfriends. The kid heard it, and so he had to go apologize. Martell had to go apologize to that man's son. That ain't had nothing to do with that child, right? It had nothing to do with that child. But although it didn't have anything to do with that child, guess what? You saying the baby daddy comment didn't have nothing to do with that child. You're saying you're questioning the paternity of this child father, which she looked just like Martell and Melody. I don't know how you can question it. They got rumors going on saying this could be the potential baby daddy. This could be the potential. It's crazy. It makes no sense. So you got to think about the fact that the internet is forever. They can go back and pull your lives up. They can go and look this stuff up. It's forever. It ain't going away. Then the first time you talked about the kids, you talked about the kids' hair. You compared your granddaughter's hair to her children's hair. None of that made sense. It didn't make sense at all. And so I gave you a pass and accepted your apology the first time. The second time, you're going to come back and talk about my child, and it's a problem. She don't need to be on the show. So the fight that broke out that everybody saw, that we got to see on the show, that was a direct response to Wanda. They said if Melody hadn't came and approached Wanda, then it wouldn't have been all that. Why wouldn't it have been? I can't approach you to defend my kids. I'm sick of you. You keep playing. You know, so no, I'm going to definitely approach the situation, and I'm gonna talk to your raggedy tooth relative who threatened to come at me with some guns on your live.
Right.
It's problematic. So I don't think that Wanda's gonna be on the show, and she doesn't need to be. She doesn't. I think I watched Carlos and Dustin. Dustin. I think his last name is Ross. Dustin Ross is he's on the podcast. I don't know the name of the podcast with Ebony K. Williams. He's also on the Friend Zone, which I love. I love that podcast. And then he is also on a show on, oh God, I knew all of this before now. He's also on a show on Revolt that he does. So he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing. And he gave a very good account. What he stated was, he said that all of the mothers on these shows need to have a mother's workshop where they need to know the do's and the don'ts on a reality show. Now, keep in mind, they ain't the first mamas to cut up. I mean, we saw Jim Jones' mama act the fool. We've seen Mama D act the fool. We've seen, it's like the mamas that they let on these shows, they are there for the drama. They are there to be in the mess. When it's seen Candace mama act the fool, like we've seen this. This is a model for reality shows, but when it gets to the point where you talking about people's kids, they should be off limits. I don't care if you trying to see if that's her baby daddy or not, or you trying to say, well, that's not Martell's, not that child's daddy, because you're accusing her of having an extramarital affair on her husband and having a baby outside of there, which is that's not what happened. That baby looked like Martell and Melody put together, and all of those children are Martell's kids. So we need to stop with that. Definitely need to stop with that. I do not like the fact that the cousin Kiki, who is Letitia's cousin, came onto the show to disparage her cousin because her cousin shared her drug addiction issues that she had in the past with Melody and Martell. I did not agree with that. I understood why she did what she did, but I definitely did not agree with that because you don't do your family like that. Although your family did you like that, it's not a tit for a tat. But what Kiki uncovered, which is what we always thought, was that Marceau is not the perfect husband, and Marceau has had a wandering eye. Well, that's what she did, and I believe Marceau has cheated on Letitia. Can't nobody make me feel any different, and I feel like Letitia kind of knows too that Marceau probably have cheated on her. Because how you go to Africa without your wife is beyond me. You went all the way to Africa without your wife or your kids by yourself, and you were okay with it. So I think maybe they don't want their business to be out in the streets. And it's fine. Sometimes people are okay with their financial status. Some people have marriage is a legal contract. It's a legally binding contract, right? So maybe you were okay with not being, you're okay with having the ring, but you are okay with your husband having a side piece every so over here, over there, wherever. You're okay with that, and that's fine. That ain't none of our business. But stop acting like somebody trying to destroy your marriage when they telling the truth about your situation. Because I believe that man done cheated. Because he'd have been around Martell and the side chick. All of them have. So you can't tell me you going on these boys trips and he the only one with the side piece on the trips. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. That's just my opinion. I don't know, although Melody is one of the executive producers, she and Martell, because they brought the show idea to Carlos King to start the show. I don't know how much longer Melody is gonna be a part. She'll probably just have the executive producer moniker behind her name, because in a minute I think she's gonna let them folk have it. Because the way they are coming at her is ridiculous left and right. I did this season, Kimmy, who is the wife of Maurice, who's brother Marceau, she found out that she had cancer. She's having to go through treatment, and she shared the treatment with us on the show this season. She doesn't know what her outcome is, because if I'm not mistaken, she's still going through it. But what I will say is that I champion her. I've always liked Kimmy. Kimmy has been one of my favorites on the show. She's been my favorite because she's always kept it 100. She's always, been fair. She sees where people do wrong. She'll take you to the carpet, but she'll also, be there in support of you as well. I don't I think that Kimmy and Maurice, Maurice is not an exciting character for me on the show, but I think Kimmy being there, I think that I really like Kimmy. I definitely like Kimmy on the show. I think if Letitia let go of whatever hurt and pain that she feels like Melody has caused her, I feel like she can get past it. I think she's holding on to the initial reason why they got beef, you know. And she ain't been able to let that go. She ain't been able to move past it, because when they tried to move past it, she kept bringing stuff up. So she ain't over it, and she don't know how to let go. And I think that's what needs to happen. That they need to let some of the stuff is petty, and they just need to let it go. But that's what I got for Love and Marriage Huntsville. They got one more. I think they have one more installment of their reunion show. Very integral parts. Their reunion shows are very good. If y'all are not on the OWN network and their reality shows, some of their reality shows, I'd be like, Ready to Love, I after probably a couple of episodes, I'm over it because I'm not that invested in those stories.
Mhm.
Um, I do
Girl,
like the Family or Fiance show. I love that show, and I miss Ayana. I do miss Ayana. Ayana said she ain't got time. Y'all was sending her death threats and all that stuff. So she said, "What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here to do a podcast like everybody else doing, because I ain't got time for the children. I'm
I
too
can
old."
fix my own life without y'all.
Correct the moon though. And then so I do like that show. I did like the Bell Collective. And I'm ready to see what they, when they come back, I'm ready to see what where they are with that.
You know what'd be interesting? I want to see how they deal with the water situation.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I definitely would like to see that. If they are recording, I definitely would like to see how they, because they're still dealing with the water situation. Water situation ain't gone nowhere. They just got approved for like $900 million, which is just gonna scratch the surface, but it's gonna help them to get back on some type of track because it's gonna take billions of dollars to fix what's broken. Jackson's not the only place that had that situation. Flint had that situation for a very, very long time. We kind of got that situation in certain parts of Memphis. Let the pipes freeze up and whole businesses are shut down. So these are things. Infrastructure is a thing, and I don't think that a lot of our local governments are using the money that's sent from federal government for the infrastructure, or they're not using it properly.
You
Um,
got me thinking.
and
Go ahead,
huh?
keep going. You
Yeah.
got me thinking about something. Go ahead, keep going.
Okay. And so that's kind of where I'm going with that is, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. A lot of those ladies don't stay in the Jackson area either. A lot of them stay on the outskirts. So hopefully they will show something where they have a lot of their businesses are in the Jackson city limits. Hold on, let me back up on that. A lot of their businesses are in the Jackson city limits. So they were affected business wise, possibly by the water situation, but probably not personally affected by it, because a lot of them stay on the outskirts and they don't stay in the Jackson city limits. So Jackson is like Memphis. They have outskirts that are around. They got your Lakelands, they got Byram, they have oh god, Madison County. They have different areas around there where the outskirts are not on the same water system as Jackson. I'm gonna debunk this one more time. I'm gonna use this as an example. On 60 Minutes, when Prime was on 60 Minutes, they showed him taking a bath in the pool in a hotel in the city of Jackson, which was in one of the hotels not far from the stadium. The problem with that is Prime did not stay in Jackson. He stayed on the outskirts of Jackson. He was not, his water wasn't on the same water system as Jackson.
Right.
So
Like when we had the water situation here,
right.
we wasn't affected because we was
When
when
I
we
was
had Bartlett water. We
right,
was getting water from Bartlett,
right,
so it
right.
didn't affect us.
Right. So that's the thing. And how is it that a larger city is affected by, but the outskirts are not? Down different filtration systems. So that's a thing that we got to keep in mind. But hopefully, they'll show the ladies coming together to do something as far as helping with the water and that sort of thing. Um, let's talk about the Congress real quick.
Oh, girl, you know what? But let me tell you this: I am proud of my Democrats because they're standing their grounds and they're making the Republicans. They're looking at the Republicans like y'all crazy.
All of us are looking at the Republicans like they crazy. So first of all, let's talk about this. It took them 15 votes to get a Speaker of the House because the Republicans were not backing Kevin McCarthy, and rightfully so. They shouldn't have backed Kevin McCarthy. They do have I'm gonna find what this is. They do have a written place that if he's not doing a good job or not doing the job that needs to be done, that they can remove him
But
from that position.
I'm
Um,
I think that his time as the majority leader is going to be very, very limited
well, there
because
have
he
been
had to do. He had to do too much for them to vote for him.
And they
Then
were
had to,
trying to get that other black guy. I can't think of his name right now off the top of my head, but they were trying to get him to be the token black person. We to have the first black speaker of the house, and I'm like, so really, this is what this is what we're doing. Um, they were trying to get him in there. He only had 20 votes. Because those same 20 Republicans were not backing down. And the 14th vote, they were literally about to come to blows. The Republican Party. Literally, it was Love and Hip Hop U.S. Congress edition. They were literally about to come
Jerry
to
Springer.
blows. Jerry.
Jerry.
They were literally about to come to blows. Like, oh my God. Like everybody was tired. And I'm sure.
And this what trips me out. He was so desperate. He was going to the Democrats. Look, help me out. Give me a vote. Hold on. Don't you follow Trump?
But Trump don't follow him. So let's talk about that. The reason why he didn't have the support that he needed is because Trump did not back him. That is the reason why. Trump was not initially backing him, right? There is in the Senate, actually, we have control 51 to 48 right now because one of the senators resigned. And he's going to be the president of the University of Florida, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So they have to fill that seat. I don't know how they're going to do that. Or if they're going to be able to do that with another Republican, they may have to have a special election with the state that he represents. But we still have the majority over there either way. So we will see. But Hakeem Jeffries was a star during this process.
Oh man, I'm like I'm not gonna. Well, he's his own person, but that's Barack Obama Jr.
Baby, all day
2004. 2004, Barack Obama DNC speech.
If we have another black president, I say
he's gonna be it.
He's gonna be it.
He's gonna be it.
Hakeem Jeffries. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna lay it out like that. I think that it's important to have great leadership, and the Democratic Party has excellent leadership. They banded together, and I'm super proud of them for sticking to their guns and doing what they do best in the midst of this crazy abyss. But yeah, I was like, y'all ain't finna start fighting on the floor. They was about to fight on the floor.
Fighting.
Dude,
at first I thought he was trying to attack the woman. I'm like, now are we doing this on live TV? But then it was the guy. It was the guy.
The Capitol.
Yeah.
They stormed the Capitol. So all right. So here in the good old city of Memphis, we have a rapper that I had never heard of by the name of Big Scar that got killed I think late last year. And he had talked about, I think Gucci Mane, I think he might have been on Gucci Mane's label, I'm not sure. But however, the funeral was supposed to be taken care of by Gucci Mane. Okay. Gucci Mane paid some money towards it, but according to the family, the funeral was $60,000. Let me say this right now, y'all. I need y'all to understand what I'm about to say. When we mourning our loved ones, yes, the funeral home will get over on you. They definitely will get over on you because the more money you spend, the more money they make. However, $60,000 for a funeral? No.
You must want too much. You must want.
No. You don't want everything in the book. So while they're on the live, his sister went live on Instagram talking about how Gucci Mane didn't pay for the funeral So what? Yeah, he sent us $20,000. That wasn't enough. The funeral was $60,000. Well, did he not have life? Yeah, he had life insurance. So what's your complaint? I need to understand. Did y'all still
I
have to
just
come
sent you
up?
a private chat.
Uh, did y'all still have to come up with money for this man's funeral? I'm confused. What is the problem? Um, we can. It's not that bad. I knew about that a long time ago, but we can. Um,
Shoot, I
so
didn't.
why? Huh? You didn't know?
I didn't. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
I knew. We'll talk about that in a minute. So what's the problem? Let me say this. Nobody owes you anything. If you got life insurance on your loved one, that's supposed to take care of the funeral and whatever expenses. If he got kids or whatever else, hopefully if he was rapping and doing shows, he had some money set aside. He had some money set up. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. And then they said that Gucci Mane asked for his chains back that he had given him. I don't know. I don't think they responded to that. But Keisha said, and I quote his wife, Keisha Kaur, the makeup lady, the makeup lady, who is the wife of Gucci Mane. She showed receipts where they made two $10,000 payments to NJ Ford and Son funeral home here in Memphis. She showed
Oh
that. She said
yeah.
they also sent flowers as well. So what the family is complaining about, I haven't the slightest clue. I do not know. I feel like Gucci don't ask them fuck for their chains back. I understand they being ungrateful. They can probably go and sell them chains and get whatever money they need. Okay, if they feel like they are due more money from the death of their brother or their loved one, I feel like they can go get some chains. They can go get them chains and sell them chains. You don't need your chains back that much. That's how I feel. Go sell them, go hawk them, go do what you need to do because them chains are probably worth more than the funeral was worth, depending on what chains were given to them. So I want to say, and I'm gonna do an RIP because my mind has totally went blank. Um, we don't. I feel like rappers have a persona that they have to portray in order to keep whatever their little status is, right? But I do
Right.
think that it's at a certain point as we get older and as we become adults, that baby was young, so he was still gonna probably be dealing with his tomfoolery. But as we become older and we become adults, and we get to a point to where things have to be, um, we have to grow up at some point. Jay-Z went from being a corner boy to now he's $1 billion, a man. And he ain't selling no drugs no more. He ain't on. You can't be a corner boy for the rest of your life. You gotta grow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the life that a lot of these young artists are living is they still living that crazy life. They still with guns and in the drugs and the this and the that. Once you get to a certain income bracket, some of this stuff should be stopped. I believe a lot of our artists that we have could be still alive to this day if they weren't just out here being foolish.
All
Period.
right.
Stop with the back and forth and the beefs and stuff where y'all are really beefing. Like, make it a rap beef. Don't make it a beef where we finna jump on folk. Make it a beef where do it with your words. Use your words. As the girls on the reality show say, you can use your words. You ain't got to use hands. You ain't got to use guns. You don't have to continue to operate. We got some going to jail because you're still selling dope. If you making all this money off of these shows that you're doing, that's how you make your money. You make your money from doing shows, and a lot of the rappers do a lot of shows. They are constantly recording and they're constantly touring. That's what they do. They
Mm-hmm.
go overseas, they in the States, they are touring, and they get paid a lot of money to do the shows that they do. After that management gets their cut, they still get a lot of money to do the shows that they do, right?
Right.
You in a different tax bracket, my guy. Take that money, invest it, calm all that stupid stuff down. Stop it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't
Mm.
make sense at all. Real quick, I want to send an RIP to Gangsta Boo, Lola Mitchell, who was pivotal as a teenager, was spitting spitting fire. You know what I'm saying?
Mad bars.
Mad bars. We grew up with all of us in Memphis grew up with Gangsta Boo. You know what I'm saying? Not we may not known her personally, but we grew up with Gangsta Boo because she was the first lady of 3-6 Mafia. You know what I'm saying? And she was doing her thing at a young age and killing the game at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And what I will say is she laid some groundwork and foundation for a lot of the female artists that are out here today.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely want to send condolences to her family, her
Yeah.
friends, everybody that knew her, everybody that loved her. It's really, really sad. That was not news that I was ready to hear on New Year's
On the
Day,
first of the year.
first of
The
the year,
first of the year. I was like,
23. Come in here and sit your tail down. We ain't got time for this. We do not have time for this. 2023. We definitely don't. I was not ready for it at all.
because the 2021 took Betty White the last day of the year, and then Barbara Walters in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, eek.
Yeah.
I do, like I said, condolences out to her family.
Yeah.
I heard, I don't know how true it is. That's why this is alleged that it was a drug overdose.
I don't know that that's true.
That's why I said
I'm
I don't
I'm
know.
I'm
It's
I'm
a
gonna leave it at
rumor.
that. I don't know that that's true.
I just remember her being like a what I want to say, was it earlier last year, either late 2021 or earlier this year. She was on Celebrity Boot Camp, Hip Hop
Marriage boot
Edition,
camp. It was
marriage. But
2020. It was early 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
okay, and so they was asked to leave because um the producers found white substance in their rooms.
Right.
So sometimes this is a I just feel bad for her family. Did
Right.
she have any kids you know of?
Not to my knowledge. I don't think she had kids.
Mm,
I don't believe she had kids. But don't give me the line to you.
right. So
Yeah.
like I said, my what I just said, I don't know if it's true or not. It's alleged. That's what I heard. And I just pray because that's somebody's daughter. That's somebody's, I don't know if she had any siblings. There's
Right.
somebody's, cousin, granddaughter, that's somebody's loved one.
Yeah.
So, and that's
Yeah.
all I got to say about that.
All right. And the cat's out the bag. Angela Simmons and Yo Gotti are official, Instagram official. I knew about them way before now.
Now,
It
when
was
did
not
you
a
know
shock
about
to me.
this? And
Well,
you did not
he
tell
had a
me?
whole song about getting her inbox,
Right.
DMing her. And he did.
And,
And she answered the call. And so I've seen them in Memphis together before
okay.
that picture came out. So
Okay.
yeah, I kind of knew,
Well, I'm
what it
happy
was.
for them. If they're happy, I'm happy. I'm
If
happy
they
for them.
if they happy, I'm happy. Um, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay, let's get into the best man. Final chapters. We start off with Quentin, who's played by Terrence Howard. Do you believe he retiring?
Mm-mm.
He said he is. He said he done with acting. Y'all done pissed him off. I done missed out on Marvel money because y'all did me in for the blood of Jesus Christ with that, and so on and so forth. Um, he we start off with him getting married, right? So they had to back it up because the Christmas one was what, 2013?
I believe so. I believe so
2013,
because
2014. So I had to
yeah,
back it up to 2015, if I'm not mistaken. And so when they backed it up to 2015, you got Quentin planning his wedding to Ziamara, who is played by our girl
Nicole
Nicole R. Parker.
Parker.
And we see some cracks in Quinn because Quinn ain't the same Quinn, right? He has become this big brand manager, but he was still Quinn with his ignorant self, right?
But this is what trips me out on this part, because as you just to get back to cinematography history, Nicole played Tay Diggs' girlfriend wife on Brown Sugar.
Brown Sugar.
So they was, I think it was like, it wasn't part of the script, but it was like ad lib, but try
Right.
to make jokes and digs. When they
Right.
kept on asking Tay Diggs' character, hey, you sure you ain't slept with my girl?
Right. Right. Right.
But
Right.
I thought that was funny.
Right. It was really funny. So we see some cracks in Quentin. We see, Shelby's
And it
not
was not
invited.
right.
Shelby's not invited to the wedding. We all know why. Because when she found out he got engaged, we saw Andy Cohen um had an interview with Shelby.
Because she
And
was the Real Housewives of Westchester or something
whatever,
like
child.
that.
One of them made up Real Housewives shows. And so we see her going to his place of business and
And
wrecking
acting a
shop.
fool. Then
A
talking about,
fool.
I don't like you. I don't like you anyway. Da, 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 da. If you don't like him, why are you doing all of that? But this is what gets me though.
Mm-hmm.
The girl was his in the beginning.
So we're gonna get into there. Hold on. So
Okay.
so we see Ziamara kind of has this hold on Quentin, and you know Jordan, who was played by Nia Long, and Harper, who's played by Tay Diggs, are like, what is wrong with Quentin? Lance is even like, y'all see that? Although he's self-involved, he knows something ain't
And
right with Quentin either. So
and Merch is the only one that's saying y'all just mad. You ain't being the best. You ain't being a good best man. He
because
just mad
Merch
because
wanted to be the best man. We're going to talk about that too. Merch wanted to be Quentin's best man. He really, really wanted to be Quentin's best man. When Quinn asked, uh, when Quinn asked Harper and Quinn have known each other the longest, and I didn't realize that until this show that Quentin and Harper had known each other since the 9th grade. I absolutely had no clue. I went back and watched the first Best Man and the Best Man holiday, and they had not mentioned that Quentin and Harper have the longest relationship out of all the characters, right? um he did know about the dad or whatever, but you learn that stuff when you in college with your college friends. We learned about each other's parents when I was in college with my group of friends, and still called each other's parents mamas or whatever, and we checking on them, seeing how they're doing and that sort of thing. So it's a thing, right? And so with that, um I didn't know that. So rightfully so, he asked Harper to be his best man because that's the longest relationship that he had. But Merch was a little in his feelings about it. They showed everybody being pretty successful. Of course, the last time we saw Harper wasn't doing so well, but now he was doing well because he started writing more books, and people were eating it up. Like, he's in Costco signing books and that sort of thing. He wasn't fulfilled in that. However, although he wasn't fulfilled in that, it paid the bills. So now they're giving him the opportunity to make unfinished business, which was the first book that started all this mess in the first place from the very first Best Man movie. They want to make it into a movie. And so he's on the table about it because he's trying to do the right thing. Because normally Harper is selfish. Harper does things for his own reasoning and not communicating to people like what's going on with him and that sort of thing. So we saw that the book that circulated initially in the first Best Man, it was supposed to be out before anything had been found out, before anybody had figured out anything. But Jordan got the advanced copy and passed it along to the group of friends, right? In the first movie. The second movie, he was going through stuff. They had been going to fertility clinics, dealing with stuff. They were behind on bills. He had lost his
because
job.
of all that stuff, all the medical stuff they was going
Right.
through.
That they were going through to try to have a baby. And the fact that he was trying to get Lance to do this autobiography, and Lance was like, he didn't really want to do it, but we didn't know that he was focused on Mia's health at that point in time. We found out in that movie, and then of course Mia passed because of cancer. he came around. He didn't have no choice but to come around, but he came around. Of course, Mia had something to do with that as well. And now he's trying to do the right thing. I'm gonna talk to everybody. I don't want it to be no problem. It caused a whole lot of mess. It caused a whole lot of stuff. I don't want to operate in selfishness. I want to definitely do the right thing. Okay. When he did it initially, Merch, I don't think was on board, and neither was Shelby. And then Lance had initially told him, yeah, I'm cool with it. And he was like, nah, but he was still dealing with his own stuff. And eventually everybody was okay. Everybody gave their blessing. So he went forward with that. So of course it took a couple of years to go into development, shoot it, find the people, that sort of thing. And we saw that. We also saw the dynamics of the women and the careers and what they wanted to do. Of course, Robin was still Robin. When we met Robin, who was Harper's wife, she was his then girlfriend. When we met her, she hadn't found her niche, right? She was an event planner, she was a photographer, she was a this, she was a that. She found her niche with being a chef, but even with that, she was flighty. She had different stages of things that she was doing, like she was doing the home meals or whatever. She was also not only being a chef, but she was also now fighting, with the Black Lives Matter movement and that sort of thing. And it wasn't necessarily a problem for Harper, but then it became a problem when their daughter was with her at one of the marches and she ended up getting arrested. So they had a conflict of interest at that point in time. And they had those issues. Now, at the wedding, let me back up because I have gone a little ahead of myself. At the wedding, of course, the wedding didn't happen between Ziamara and
and
Quentin.
what did she blow up? The hotel hut or something?
One of the villas, which was the main villa that they were staying in. She blew that up. Shelby came and Shelby wrecked everything. And so when they sent Shelby home on a coach flight, when they sent Shelby home on the coach flight, he went to the airport to go get Shelby. Him and Harper went. He was like, yes, okay, because I knew something wasn't right. Because Zilmar and his dad were doing things behind his back to try to get him to take over the hotel business and that sort of thing. They were trying to do their little things, and she was involved in the sneakiness and the behind the scenes thing. So I didn't think that was cool, right? Although she seemed cool, I did not think that was cool. So with that being said, and with her finding, with him kind of seeing those things and questioning those things, I knew that it was only a matter of time that he was gonna go get Shelby, even if he had to get a divorce from Ziamara. But the wedding never happened. Him and Shelby ended up getting married, and of course, the dad just kind of fell in line with that. And then we find out that Kennedy was Quentin's baby all along. How she kept that from Quentin, I'm not sure. I don't know why she kept that from Quentin.
Because I thought she had gotten married, had a baby, got a divorce. Because
she had been married twice, actually. She had gotten married twice. He said when she got married, he said, I had to watch her get married 2 times. I didn't do anything about it. I didn't say anything about it. I didn't come against her. I didn't come mess up her wedding. I didn't do any of that, right? And so we did think that from her nuptials, one of those marriages, we did think that she had a baby as a result of that, but the baby was with Quentin.
Hold on, what about that part when they was on the beach and they took their potion?
That reminded me. So you know how they were trying to come up with a reason as to why Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, right, at the Oscars last year. They had talked about some type of hallucinogenic medicine that he could have taken when he went to his trip to India, and how it had him kind of tripping. He might not have been completely out of it. I know that was one of the rumors that I heard. That made me think about that,
But it had affected people differently, though.
It did. It gives you different effects because it's supposed to bring out whatever it is in you, be it a fear, be it, whatever your situation is or whatever you're going through, it brings that out. So whatever you feeling on the inside about that particular thing, it's gonna bring it out, right? So that's what that, in my opinion, that's what that does. Um, but I thought about that at that moment because there are a lot of stars. There are a lot of people who are in different tax brackets that have shamans, and they have, people who read the palms and all these other types of things that take place and go on. And that reminded me of that at that point in time. But that was a trip. That was truly a trip,
Had Shelby had to go to the bathroom.
baby. She ran for the hills, honey. She ran for them hills. Um, That also brought an awakening to Regina Bell's character, Candace, because although she and Murch are educators, she noticed that one of her daughters have anxiety really, really bad, and she was on medication. And medication can work. It's a touch and go type of thing. And me personally having to deal with that because I have a child who has Tourette syndrome, and his medicine may work some days it may not work. He may get super nervous, maybe super anxious, super agitated. Different things happen and take place that make you feel a certain type of way. And the side effects from a lot of the medications are not, they're not good side effects, right? And so to find a natural way to make that, and that brought out a good point. There are some things naturally that we can use to medicate and help those situations and those issues. And so she was finding another way to do it, and that's when she decided that that's what she was going to do. She was going to research it, she was going to do her homework, and she was going to use it on her babies at home and use it for some of the things that she may be going through or dealing with at home. Now, Murch was not 100% on board with it. Of course, we saw that because he didn't understand it, but that didn't mean that he wasn't supportive of what she was doing. So he did follow the line and support what she had going on. Let's get into the dynamics of each couple. But before we do that, I'm going to start with Lance. um Lance was still grieving. He was still really, really grieving, really, really badly, and was just sleeping with everybody and their grandmama. It wasn't even funny.
I
Uh,
really thought that girl was Sonya. I was like, when did she start acting? The
that was
girl
not.
kind of
I was
the
like,
girl
no,
kind of looked like her.
kind of looked like a distant cousin to Sonya. I was not. I was not. I was not ready for. I was not ready for that. I just want to let you know. Um, Sonya, and I looked at, I was like, I don't know where she sees Sonya from, but okay, cool. But no, 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 no. And then them girls with sticks. Sonya is like a stick, baby. Sonya is
But
real skinny.
that girl was kind of skinny.
That baby had an ass on her, no ma'am. No ma'am. Sonya don't have dots, okay? Buck, buck, buck. Sonya ain't got that, okay? Uh, no, ma'am, Pam. Them girls was thicker than Sonya, okay? Um, so no, I did not. I didn't. But he was going through a tear. They were very concerned about Lance. And I like to see at different stages when they were going through, they had their poker game. The poker game was kind of how we kind of got the guys as an ensemble group together in the First Best Man. um and that's what they do. They replaced the poker game in the Christmas one with the pool game is what they did. But the poker is their that's their out, you know. that's their way of letting go and letting loose and getting away from their wives and their children and their families, and just letting loose as guys. And I like to see that camaraderie. We don't see that a lot. I'm not saying that a lot of guys don't have that, but a lot of times we as women are so caught up with our husbands having guys night, and a lot of times they're not doing much of nothing but just hanging out with their boys. I think when I get married, I think that I'm gonna encourage my husband to have a guys' night. Like, baby, go, please. You ain't got to be under me 24/7. We ain't got to be under each other all the time. You know what I'm saying? Go hang out with your boys. Go let loose. I'm gonna encourage that because you need male camaraderie. I think that that's needed. I want to go. I want to go to brunch with my girls. I think that that's something that is needed. You know what I'm saying? I think a good kiki with my homegirls is something that's greatly needed that I can use every once in a while. I really wish that I could have a girls' night in my house. I ain't got the space, but that's something that I think that we all need. We have to nurture our friendships outside of our relationships. I'm not the type of person that when I get in a relationship, I kick my friends or push my friends to the side. That ain't something that I do. But I see a lot of people do that, male and female. They kick their friends and family and certain people to the side so they can completely work on their relationship. And you gonna drive me crazy, right?
Let me tell you, when I married Ren, I knew I didn't have no problems because he was in a fraternity. He was really active in his fraternity, and he loved his bros and everything. And I remember one time I come home from work and he comes in and he's like, well, such and such, he's coming in from chat, so we're gonna say bye. I said it real quick.
Understand why we would have a problem with that. I have homeboys and homegirls that they are married, and when it's homecoming time, right? Okay, homecoming. We're not married. Bye. You go hang out with your friends. You go hang out with your sorors. I'm hang out with my friend. I'm hang out with my folks. I'm hang out with my peeps. That don't mean that they gonna cheat on their spouses or they're gonna be out here wilding out and acting a fool. But I'm just, my thought process behind that is that we need those nurturing relationships, and it's always good to bounce those ideas off. Sometimes you got a sensible friend in the group that's gonna say, hey dog, listen, I wouldn't do that if I was you. Or, hey man, I know you need this, you going through, so let's all come together. Like when Robin and the baby left to go to Africa towards the end, they came over. That man hadn't cleaned up, hadn't done nothing. He was sitting on the couch. They came over, they brought the wings, they brought the liquor, they set the table up, they got the food laid out. They sat down, they shuffled the cards, got everything ready. And the Harper, you coming? He didn't want to get off that couch, but he did. So we need those relationships, right? Nurturing relationships. And we need those, and that's something that's needed. So Lance, they knew something was going on with Lance. So Merchant Harper went and knocked on Lance's door, and they saw Lance was out here dipping it and doing it without protection too. Talking about he used protection 77% of the time or whatever.
No. It went from 98 to 90 to 80 something to 70 something.
Sir, you gonna get the clap out here doing it. And then when he met the young lady at the resort, I cannot remember her name right now, but when he met the young lady,
Tanya, something like that,
maybe, I don't know. But when he met her at the resort, I'll find out. Okay, met her at the resort. She was a breath of fresh air, and she reminded him of Mia.
Because she didn't take none of his stuff.
She didn't take none of his stuff. She was not, sir. Okay, you play football, you cute. Okay. She was not caught up with that. She wasn't finna bust it wide open. Now, listen, I would have been one of them girls that was busting it wide open because, baby, that's more chestnut. Listen, okay?
How come there's this thing on TikTok where they said, my mama never get in the car with strangers? And then it says me, okay. And then they showed a picture of Morris Chestnut. Then you saw a video of somebody breaking into the car. Just like, like jumping into the car like you're jumping in the...
Come on, Morris. Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
Jasmine, that's her name.
Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Yes. So, of course, he thought that that was gonna be something more than what it was. Found out she was engaged to be married. Um, so he had to back up off of that. But throughout time, he continued to talk to her throughout the years. And she talked to him about, different things. He
And
talked
then she
about
moved to New York.
she did move to New York. And we found that out when he was retiring his number. Oh Lord, Lance. So Lance went through a lot. First of all, his son was non-binary. And at first, I thought his son just didn't want to play football. I did not know it was that deep till I saw him put them boots in that book bag. I said, "This baby gay," and then he said he was non-binary. So it was like it's not that I'm gay; it's that I'm not identifying. So if I want to dress up and as a guy, I want to be able to do that. If I want to dress up a little bit more flamboyant, I want to do that. I want to put on makeup. I want to put on lashes. I don't have a problem with that, but I knew that Lance was going to have a problem with it, and lo and behold, he did. But everybody knew about it except for Lance. That was the thing. And they didn't
But by
tell him.
chance, it didn't, right, because I can understand Nia Long's part of it because of as the godmother,
She's a godmama. Well, and Terrence
right,
Howard Quinn is the godfather. So I understood
right.
them not necessarily wanting to, because first of all, you want that trust factor with your godchild, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want that
Mm-hmm.
trust factor. You want to be able to go to your parents, but if you can't go to your parents and talk to them about whatever, you want to go to,
To
you want to be
somebody.
able to have, right. So that was their sounding board, right? Auntie Jordan and Auntie Queen. Now, of course, he didn't tell Quinn. Quinn had to find out, right? But that dynamic, and they knew that Lance would not understand because Lance already had a problem with the boy not playing football. He could not even grasp that concept at all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why? You good at it, and he was a really good football player. He had access to personal
And
trainers.
I think that's the problem with some of these athletes with kids. They expect their kids to be in their shadows or
Yeah,
be in their footsteps. Like
yeah,
I could imagine the pressure that Michael Jordan kids probably had, Shaquille
yeah,
O'Neal kids
yeah.
probably had. You're a basketball greatest son. You're the son of the one of
What
the
what
greatest.
and LeBron James kids, because let me say this, I don't think that Shaquille pushed his kids to play basketball. Them children is big and tall as he is, and I think because they had basketball was a central part of their life, they just all played basketball, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
both two of his sons and both of his daughters are playing basketball, right? Or two of his daughters,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, because he got three girls and three boys. So two of his daughters and two of his sons are playing basketball. The oldest never really took to basketball, but he has a business mind, right?
And
But the
take
other, uh-huh,
I was gonna say, and take Kobe Bryant. He never had any boys, so whenever he was sometimes when he was in interviews and he had Gia beside him, he was like, "So are you upset because you don't have any boys to toss to keep the legacy?" And Gia's like, "Oh, look, he got me."
right,
I'm gonna,
right,
and she
right,
and just
because
and I just
she was with it, and she was cold. That little girl was cold, right?
cold.
Cold.
Cold was her mini dad, was the mini
Yep,
dad
yep,
of the women part. She
yep,
would have been the greatest. It's just sad how that talent and that life was cut so short.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it was just
yeah.
funny. And
So
then I'm also thinking about Prime and his kids playing football too.
yeah, yeah. I don't, and again, they love to play football. It's not like they don't like doing it. Because his older sons didn't. I don't think they played football. Not past little league or maybe high school. Like I didn't hear anything about Deion Sanders Jr. or his other son, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
heard about the Shadur and Shiloh. I heard about them. They were kicking butt, and then his daughter plays basketball. So it's pressure, absolutely. Um, but it's a different type of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when you have a child that don't want to follow in your footsteps, that's a different type of situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I knew that was definitely going to be a problem. But when he found out, in the way in which he found out that his son was not, you know, was not the son he thought he was, it became a problem. And he
to,
took him through a number of changes.
to the
So much
point that
so,
he ran away.
right, to the point that he ran away. And it wasn't. I do like the fact that his kids were very close. I do like that, but I think they also didn't have a choice but to be close.
But you only saw the oldest two kids. What happened to the two younger ones?
The two younger ones popped up every once in a while. Like they were there at his thing, at
Okay,
his
I got to rewatch it.
yeah, they were there at certain parts. They just didn't really have speaking parts. But they were there like when he retired. All four of the kids was there because those were that was it. That was who showed up was the kids. Um, Everybody else, didn't show up because of the big fight and the blow up between Robin and Harper. Um, and Harper came for a minute and then he left because he just wasn't feeling it at that point. Um, so you see them sprinkled throughout, but the fact that they were very close, they didn't have a choice but to be because their dad was not emotionally available for them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was mourning his wife, and
Right. That's
I,
hard though.
it's
It's
really,
hard.
really hard. But you know what? Do you think it's harder for a man than it is a woman? And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times when you have widows, when you have male widows, I have guy friends who are married and they say if their wife died, they get married like immediately after because like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
can't
Because
they can't
it's
handle
gonna
all
be year. This is gonna be year 9 since
mm-hmm.
Ren passed,
Yeah,
and I'm still yet without another husband.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I've dated and stuff like that, but you know, but I do believe that if it was me that have gone, Ren would have probably,
Moved on.
moved on and went
I
because he couldn't be
think
by himself.
right. I think it's because you can't be by yourself. Not only that, if you have kids involved and you got to raise those kids, she for the most part was a stay-at-home mom and she ran their
Mm-hmm.
household, right? She didn't have to
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you think about the dynamic of that, and I'm not saying that's everybody's dynamic, but for the most part, women 9 times out of 10 are doing the rearing when it comes to the kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
they're at home doing their thing, and a lot of times they're working and doing it. And although they have a partner with them, it's a hard pill to kind of swallow, if that makes sense. So those are just some of the things that I think about. Just listening to different people who are married and listening to different people who, a lot of times women that well, I can't, they'll do what they got to do for their kids and do that, but it's not they're not so quick to jump on or marry somebody else because they're more concerned about the kids, whereas it's the opposite for the husband. Um, so yeah, so that's Lance. He got it together. He finally accepted his son. They worked through their issues and their problems, and he also had to pray. He also had to deal with me, and he had to go them flashbacks and dealing with that. And he ended up getting with Jasmine. He did propose to her. And they
I wanted to see how he did it though.
I wanted like it was so many questions that was left up
Uh-huh. So
when it
what if so it has to be left open for some more final chapters.
he said
Because
he said
because
they said
what
this
I
is
thought what I thought was it was only 4 episodes.
no,
I didn't know it was 8. And I
it
was
was eight.
like,
It was
okay.
8 episodes. I watched them right on through, straight on through. Okay,
Mhm.
so the next one that I want to talk about is Harper and Robin. Harper and Robin was problematic in my opinion from day one,
From the beginning of the
from
best
the
man.
very beginning. And although they had 20 plus years worth of marriage, regardless of the 20 plus years of marriage that they had, I always thought that there were going to be cracks in their situation. One, because there was always the Jordan issue. Although Robin, played along to get along, there was always in the back of her head, she always felt like she had to outshine or she felt like Jordan was um Harper's soulmate, right? And let me say this, I'm going to ask you this. Do you think a soulmate is always romantic.
Mm-mm.
Right. I think that they're soulmates, but I don't think they're meant to be together. That's my unpopular opinion. A
But you
lot of
know
people,
what? But if they could handle being together because they're used to being busy.
but I still do not think that they would work out. And the reason why I say that is because she can call him on his bull crap. I just don't think they belong together, because I feel like if that was the case, they would have embarked upon that journey, you know, after him and Robin were officially done. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, um, yeah, that's true. They could have.
Because even in 2024, after him and Robin had their thing and they broke up, the divorce was finalized, everything was done. It was still, you know, at first she said, well, we're not gonna deal with this right now because this ain't what we need to be doing. You need to get over Robin. You really truly need to get over Robin. Even after then, you still wasn't together. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that they were meant to be. I think your soulmate doesn't always is not always a romantic soulmate. I think your soulmate can be, you can have a friend that's a soulmate, male or female, that is your soulmate, that knows you inside and out and can call you on your BS. I think so. But I definitely think that Harper and Robin were doomed from the start. I think that Robin was unhappy a great deal of their marriage. And
Mm-hmm.
when they went to counseling, you saw some of the things, but the other part of that was she never communicated how she felt to her,
Right.
so he didn't know. So you can't get mad at me because you ain't
And
communicating
then
with me.
and then she say like she expected him to kind of figure it out or
Yeah,
something like that.
but but
That's
but
that's
sis,
that's that's the wrong thing. That is the wrong thing. You need to let them know on the get go on how you feeling.
absolutely,
And so if they can get it correct, that's fine. If they don't think they can, then you need to move on.
absolutely. And so that was my problem with that. But in so many relationships, that's how it is. In so many relationships, we expect people to read our minds and understand from the point that where we're coming from, and we take a step back and let them shine. And then when it comes time to do the same thing, you're expecting them to do the same thing, when no, you've always let that person shine. She's
Mm-hmm.
always let Harper shine. You know what I'm saying? So, and she knew that Harper was going to deal with his career over anything she had to do. It was going to be his career first. She knew that. Although I felt like he definitely loved Robin,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like he definitely loved his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that she, well, you could write from anywhere, but if we finna do movies and we finna do this, I'm gonna have to do this. And you knew that that was the formula, because eventually he's gonna have to go tour. You know, he gotta go,
Mm-hmm.
he gotta do a book tour, he gotta do a this tour, he
Mm-hmm.
gotta do that tour. So with that being said, with those thoughts in mind, y'all had plans. And do I think that Harper could have rearranged his schedule? Because I think at that point in juncture, you're at a place in your career where you can kind of call some shots just a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you had to say, hey, listen, can we push this back to the fall? Because my family and I had planned to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I could do some things
Mm-hmm.
with Zoom. We could do conference calls. But for the most part, let me do that. I think that would have been okay. But I ultimately think that Robin was just unhappy. And I
Mm.
think that even if he had gone to Africa with them,
It
right?
would have been something else.
Still, it would have been something else. She gave me Jada Pinkett Smith vibes. You know what I'm saying?
And
You have
even though, and this is also something that upset me, even though he realized it was going to be best for his daughter, you just can't move your daughter to another country like that.
I thought that that was totally unfair. I literally think, and I have a friend who married somebody that got a divorce, and their child lives overseas for half of the year, and the other half of the year they live with him. Now, even if you could have worked it out to where the custody was maybe she could stay with him for the summertime, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you have her for the during the school year. And then you do breaks, he can come over there or whatever the situation is. There was no, it was like, well, yeah, we're moving to Africa. It was no, well, you could come visit whenever. No, can we work out a schedule? Can we do something better? Can we do something different? Like that was the thing.
That was
Um,
totally selfish. But
it was
then, but
very
then,
selfish. But see,
and then also from a girl who had her dad in her life almost every day to get ripped from that.
yep.
That was
Although
I
there
was
was some
like,
cracks
mm-mm.
in it. Let me also say this: there were some cracks in it because there were some times where he was not there because if he had to do a
Right,
book tour, he wasn't at home, and it was just
right.
the two of them. But because she knew that her dad was there to take that option off the table for him, that was not cool. And
That
she
was not.
sprung it on him. They getting ready to finalize their divorce, and she sprung it on them at the table when they getting ready to file the paper, when they getting ready to finish everything. You made the decision to move at the last minute, so that was a problem. They ended up having a huge argument because he fought for custody for his child. Um, even to the day that she was about to leave and walk away, that man begged that woman, can we just work it out? We can go back to counseling. I don't want you to take my child away. I love you. I don't want you to go. You know, it was not enough for her. And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
got from that. Now, of course, she's happy in Africa, and I'm all cool with that. And let me also say this: I ain't mad about you moving to Africa. And the reason why I ain't mad is because, listen, if somebody say, "Good, we got this house over here for you, come on," I would not be opposed to going. I figure out what I'm gonna
Mm-mm.
do. We have to do the size up, virtually for real, for real. But I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like, that's a safe place for us as black people. I don't care what nobody say. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want
And
us
I
over
think he realized that though.
huh?
I think he realized that though.
That
That
is a
it was
safe place.
gonna be a better place for her to grow up.
I mean, not necessarily a better place for her to grow up, but it's a safe place. And for Robin, who was fighting a good fight on the side, on the line, on the picket lines, she was fighting a good fight. That felt safe for her. It would feel safe for me. I'm just gonna keep it 100. It would feel 100% safe for me. So that's my thought process. Again, I really hate that that was the way that went for them. But again, I get that she was just not happy. It was always
Yeah.
gonna be something with her. Um, Merchant Candace, you want to go to them?
Yeah.
Okay, so Merchant Candace, Merch had to, although that they were opening up schools, all over New York. It seemed like they had just opened up 2 new schools. They were educators. They had some adversity. First of all, Merch was in his feelings about not being the best man. Ended up being the best man, but Merch felt like he did not have a voice. Even when it came to Candace, he felt like he was taking a back seat. And although he was very supportive of what Candace was doing, he didn't 100% understand it. And although she was getting educated on it, it was just something that he wasn't used to, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he was trying to get her to understand that everybody wasn't going to understand it. One of the moments that stood out for me with them was when Merch was with his kids and the white lady jumped in the taxi cab when they had already called the taxi cab, right? And the white lady tried to make it a big thing. She did the Karen, she pulled the Karen, and he couldn't say what he wanted to say because, of course, as a black person, what am I gonna do in this situation? We're dealing with police brutality. We're dealing with black men dying at the hands of police, and of course, they're always gonna believe the white woman over the black man, definitely over the black man, right? And so at that point, that was a turning point for him, and he started doing the MMA fighting. He actually did it to just kind of have some me time because he didn't have me time because he was ripping and running with the girls and being supportive of
And
Candace.
then wasn't he also kind of upset with the movie and how it was going to
We
portray
ain't got
him?
to the movie yet. This was even before the movie. Before the movie, he started getting into the MMA stuff, right? When the trailer came out for the movie, he was upset with how he was being portrayed, which dude, real talk, that's how you was. Like, we saw that in the first movie. You were exactly like that. You really were. When it came to Shelby, you were like that. You had a backbone at the end of the
Julian.
day. You grew up here, but that's how you acted. You didn't like the way you were portrayed, and I get it. I understand. You didn't agree with the portrayal, but instead of communicating that to Harper, you waited till after the fact to do it in a moment of anger instead of communicating it to him prior to that happening. And then he didn't even say anything to Harper about it. Somebody else had to say something to Harper about it. And Harper was like, it ain't
And
nothing I can do about that. Yeah, it was. You could have not made him look like a complete idiot in the movie.
why are
So,
these people not doing their things?
hmm,
I'm just seeing something,
okay,
noticing something.
I got you. So that was the thing as far as that's concerned. So the communication, and then he didn't communicate how he felt to his wife. That was another thing. He couldn't completely communicate how he felt with his wife. But not only did he not communicate, his wife couldn't really communicate either, because the situation that happened with her and that professor, she didn't want to say anything.
Oh, he was gonna kill that
Oh yeah, he
dude.
was okay. That man sat in my house and ate my food and breathed my air, and he had the audacity to do blah 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 blah. I would appreciate that, and rightfully so. So, um, I think that it's important to know their dynamics. At the end of the day, they did, they ended up with the support. They the cracks, like I said, that they had was their communication. And baby, when they took them edibles,
Girl, you know what? F them kids.
F them kids.
And you know what? I can relate because sometimes I say
I mean, who does not?
that.
Yeah,
And
who
they
does
was
not?
good and high.
Yeah. And so, and I have those moments. So we all do as parents have them if them kids moments, and I'm for it. I am absolutely positively for it.
I lived
You
for
need
that
a moment,
moment.
you need a break. Just like I say, you need that camaraderie away from your family and your friends. You need that time away from your kids too, so I can come back and be the parent I need to be. Parenting is not it's a 24/7 job, but you need a break. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you changing diapers, you going to practices, you going to lessons, you taking folk to work, you mom, I need this. That you dealing with projects at the last minute, you trying to make sure they did their homework, you trying not to kill them because they acting fool, somebody called you from the schoolhouse. It's a lot and it's a stressful situation. Every once in a while, we need to let our hair down and go have a drink or edible or whatever. The mom and dad, if it's a mom and dad involved, they need to get away because a house full of kids is a lot, right? And
F
you having to
them
deal with them house full of
kids.
kids is a lot. So y'all need some sexy time away from the house. Those are things that are needed, and people don't talk about that because we are so caught up with perfection. You got to be the perfect this, you got to be the perfect that, and that's not the case. So
Girl, I already know I'm not perfect. I am the bad mom. I am the bad mom.
um
I, hey,
well,
my,
speaking of not perfect, let's talk about Shelby and Quentin. So these are the two who, if I had to guess, I wouldn't have pegged them for being together for a long period of time, being husband and wife for a long period of time, being together for eternity. But they ended up being the match made in heaven, right?
mm-hmm.
They had little silly arguments though. You know, Shelby was going through menopause. Quentin had a mini heart attack and was going through having to make health changes. He didn't like it.
And then his
Um,
dad, the way his dad was living.
his dad, that was a mess. And they had to try to get that together. So they worked on that, and they worked on that together. Like, she was, baby, we finna break in his house. Let's do it. She was ride or die. She was making sure that their relationship was good. She made sure that they were together. And I like the fact that I like the fact that he had that relationship with his granddaughter. That was really, really good. And they were going driving and dealing with those things. And Quentin, let me tell you something. Kennedy had Quentin wrapped around her finger because Daddy, look at this bag right here. And Daddy, I want this. And Daddy, I need that. And then when he tried to bribe her and said he was gonna buy her a bag, Mom said, whatever you buy me, she can buy me 3 times as much. So I ain't finna share this hamburger with you, okay? You know, it was that. You know, she was embarrassed with her mom and daddy at the hotel trying to get some in the middle of the day. You know, things like that. It was really,
But
really
see, that's
cute.
what you do when you're married.
That's what you do when you're married. That's what you do when you're married. Um,
F them kids.
you know. Um, but the flip side of that also was the fact that um he did have a problem that he did not talk to his wife about, with the fact that she kept him away from his daughter for so many years. That was a problem. So when he gave the advice to Harper, as it relates to oh God, y'all excuse me, as it relates to him.
Oh, and they did a Will Smith dig.
Girl, that was too funny. I hollered when he did that. That must keep my wife's name out your MF mouth. And she said, "You think this is a joke?" And you know, he wanted, but he wanted to have his input because he didn't have that input with his baby in the beginning, because she took that off the table. She took that opportunity away from him. Ultimately they got it together, you know, although they went through a lot, even with the hotels shutting down and that sort of thing due to COVID. Uh, um, because he did take his dad's brand to another level, but they had to back off of their brand, and they had to close a lot of their they had to close a
Hotel.
lot of their locations as a result of that. And then when they had the opportunity on the table to sell the hotel, his daddy was against it, and that was an issue that they had. Let's talk about that real quick, because I meant to talk about this. Remember we talked about Bruce Beach, and this is just a short, because we almost done, because all we have is Jordan left to talk about. Remember when we talked about Bruce Beach and how Bruce Beach was Bruce Beach was black owned, and it was taken away from them for, I think the city of Los Angeles took it away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Beach is a part of Manhattan Beach, and that was the beach that black people could go to back in the day. Well, the
Mm-hmm.
family fought so hard to get the beach back, and they got the beach back, I think, in 2021. Now they're getting ready to sell the beach for like $20 million. I think they should lease it back to the state of California, just my opinion, or the city of Los Angeles. Uh, and then the upkeep should be on the city of Los Angeles and not on them. I don't know who's advising them. That land is worth over $100 million, right? They're
Mm-hmm.
selling it back for 20 million. That sucks. That's a fraction of what that land is worth. Now, of course, they probably didn't take into consideration when they were fighting to get the family land back for upkeep, but that's why you lease the land back to the city and make the city deal with their own upkeep. What are your thoughts on that?
No, they should not sell it. Or have they already sold it?
I think they're in the process of selling it. I don't know if it can be stopped. I'm not sure how that goes or how that's going to go. But I really think somebody needs to get in their heads and say, hey, look, listen, this $20 million ain't nothing compared to what you can make.
Off
Y'all
of
make
it.
millions and millions on top of millions. Like this generational wealth, which was the wealth that was taken away from you in the first place, right?
Right.
So now you saying, let me get this 20 million. I don't agree. So I never agreed with that. So you got places that are being gentrified, right? And you've had
Mm-hmm.
houses that have been passed down from generation to generation. And the first thing that they do is they sell those houses to those developers. And then you see grandma's house has been turned into this multi-million-dollar project, or this multi-million-dollar house. Whereas you could have kept the house, and you could have kept that in the family, in that generational, and you could have fixed the house up and rented the house
Mm-hmm.
out. And you know, if you didn't want to stay in Mima's house, right? You could have fixed that house up. You could have rented it out for whatever the market rate value is, because you own it, right?
Right. I read somewhere it's this girl who, when her dad died, he left her his house. And so what she did was she moved into the house and the house needed work. So what she ended up doing was she ended up you know, by day fixing the house up.
Mm-hmm.
And now the house looks so good. And she ain't selling it. That's her house.
That's
She like,
her
that's
house.
the house.
You
That's
ain't
the
got
house
no
my
mortgage.
daddy.
Absolutely.
My daddy gave me that house. And I was like, I was happy that she did what she did.
It's well because you can pass that down. The biggest way that you can be financially set is you can have land, you can own property. That's the best
Mm-hmm.
way. So them taking $20 million, that sucks. And I need somebody to get to them and say, hey, why can't you lease this back to LA? Let me say this. There are some people, we went this past summer, we went to Hilton Head. And of course, if you guys don't know the story of the Gullah people and the people in that area, um Geechee people, I think it's Geechee. They took land from black people and redeveloped that land, and you got those resorts on the beaches. Well, there are a couple of people down there that still own their land, and they lease that land to those companies, and they're multimillionaires. They didn't have to do anything; they just leased the land to the folks, so the people pay them a lease every month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't that be your situation, and still do that? You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
they're looking at the money though. They're seeing
It
quick
ain't no
money. They
because how
right.
many members of your family do you have to split that between?
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? If it's
Mm-hmm.
80 members of your family still alive, you know what I'm saying? And you gotta spend $20 million.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear. If you got, and I don't know how many members are living, but if you divide it by 80 people, that ain't even $1 million. That's $250,000
Mm-hmm.
per person. That ain't no money. Now it's more money than I have, but that's not money to set your family up for generational wealth, which is what you were fighting for. You were fighting them to get your land back because you said you took the opportunity for us to have generational wealth. And if it's 80 living members of the Bruce family that are alive, that's $250,000. That ain't no money.
Mm-mm.
None. And I'm just putting a hypothetical. I don't know how many living members of the family it is, but nope. I don't like it. I would rather be getting $250,000 a piece a month.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Than just getting a one-time payment of $250,000 and keeping it.
So, say for instance, if you play that lottery, that's $1 billion, and you
Mm-hmm,
win,
mm-hmm.
you going to take the lump sum, or you going to go the
Now that's a
lifetime?
different ball game. That's a different ball game because at the end of the day, if they're paying me in increments or they give me the lump sum is they're just gonna take the taxes off the top. I'm gonna have to pay taxes on it, so either way, it's gonna balance out to be the same. Whereas if I got a piece of land that I can lease back to the
Mm-hmm.
city of Los Angeles, because everybody gonna want to go to the beach, right?
Mm-hmm. That is
So if
true.
I can lease that land to the city of Los Angeles for 20 million a month, and it's 80 members of the family, if I do $250,000 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 million a year.
Yep.
Instead of giving one lump sum, that ain't no comparison. Cause I'm still gonna have millions of dollars in opposed to $250,000. You see what I'm saying?
Right. I get you. I was just asking a
Yeah,
question.
no, it to me
Don't
that ain't no
shoot them.
comparison. Because if I'm
Don't
getting three
shoot the
million dollars a
messenger.
year, if I'm getting $3 million a year off of some land, and it's probably less family members of the Bruce family. I'm just putting the 80 people out there because I'm just thinking, if they had a big family and it's still 80 living members of the family. You see what I'm saying? If it's not,
Mm-hmm.
and it's less than that, then my thought process behind it is I'm confused as to, explain to me what the problem is. Why can't you lease that land? Because you stand to get more money, even if it's 20 members of the family. Yeah, you get a little bit more money out of it. You know what I'm saying? Out of that 20 million. Right?
Right.
But so y'all will get $1 million a piece. But y'all, that's one thing. That's one lump sum versus if I'm charging 20 million and I'm getting $1 million a month. You see what I'm saying? That to me it's no comparison. That's all I'm saying to you. All right, so let's get on Jordan. Jordan had a lot going on. Of course, her white boyfriend didn't work out. um, she did end up with another one of their classmates, but she found out that classmate he got his riches from investing in the jail system that keep our men oppressed at a disproportionate rate. And so she couldn't get behind that. So that was a problem for her. A lot of people seem to think that it was also because of Harper, which I don't know if it was because of Harper or not, but I do think that she needed to know that information, because if she's fighting for equality on her end, when she'd already been called to the carpet um for the when they did the first run of the show that she created and got rid of the on MSNBC to bring her to the show. um she got called to the carpet. I think she would have been called to the carpet even the more. I do like the fact that she was able to um mother but not mother. She physically was not a mother. That was something that she desired. But nobody ever knew that because she always had that hard exterior on, because business and making sure her career was on point and making sure she was this, that, and the third. Um, and she thought she was pregnant and she was going blind from stress and going through all kinds of little crazy changes. And they found out that she was not pregnant, but the reason why it was stress. And keep in mind too, they are all like in the age of menopause. Like menopause can happen at any point in time. They late 40s, almost knocking on 50, right? So menopause at this point could definitely be inevitable. They could still be having a period or they could not be having a period. So that was also something.
That's
Uh
right. We don't have to go through that.
oh no, I praise God, hallelujah. No, but that's a situation that they had to go through. I do like how everybody did come together when the baby was gone, and she had that moment with Lance to kind of share, because her and Lance, although they were friends, they had been at odds for the first
They've
the
been in
first
odds
yeah,
the first because she wanted the
cameras
camera.
at the wedding. And so they had been at odds, and so you have to kind of think of that. She's always been career oriented and never really has slowed down for love. But she knew that she had to slow down for herself because health wise, it was going to be a problem, right? And so with that being said, with that being said, she had to ultimately come to the place. Of course, she did decide that, that Harper was her soulmate. And Harper decided that, but they were not going to romantically pursue that, although the door is open for that later on. But she worked her work schedule out to where she could still be successful and still have time to live her life, because that was something that, because even when she was on vacation, she was still taking work calls, right? um
Right.
and
But
even
it
though
was one moment she said nope, and
right,
she ignored it.
right. And so that's the thing. So when she walked away from that big position, that was something to be said, for her. um so that's where we are. All in all, like I said, the camaraderie, the being there for one another, the having each other's backs, the making sure, everybody was straight, in the time of need. They came together, did what needed to be done. Regardless, even though Robin and Harper were going through their thing when their baby was missing, everybody came together and they banded together. And like I said before, this really brought me back to my group of friends from college. We don't talk every day. um but when we need each other, we're there for each other. you know we need to, send a little money because somebody's passing, somebody's family, or we need to send some money because somebody's going through a hard time, or somebody's had surgery, somebody's doing this or doing that. We always pretty much are there for one another when it counts and when need be. When it's time for us to hang out and go out of town, or do whatever, we do that. I haven't done it in a while. This past year after August, I wasn't going nowhere, but um it did pretty much bring me to my group of friends, and just how much I appreciate them, and them being there for me throughout the years. Um so yeah, that's it. That's the best man holiday. Any takeaways you want to add to this, Wendy?
No, it was a good series, and I wish that they will consider doing a second
I
part.
think they could, because
If
I'm
if,
really,
they, if at least one or two more episodes, a bonus episode.
or or maybe they shot some things that were left out. Maybe y'all want to do some uncut scenes, or something. I just really feel like,
You
something
left
more,
us hanging.
because I feel
Now,
like you definitely left us hanging.
now, what I do want to say is this. Now, I'm not talking about the best man. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this is something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
We are back on the circle.
We
I
are
am
back on the start.
loving. I am loving the circle.
I am loving it.
And Shuby just messed up the game. He messed up the game.
He
He
screwed
messed
up.
up the game
Definitely
by
screwed up.
giving them folks the power.
I hate it. I hate that he did that. Because the person that I really want to win, I don't think they're going to win because of the
Mm-mm.
fact that he gave them that. Unless somebody figures something out about them, although they're really playing a really good game, unless somebody figures something out and they're able to turn against them, I don't know how that's gonna happen. We'll
Yeah.
have to see. We'll have to definitely see. But yeah, make sure y'all check out The Best Man, the final chapters. I was gonna say Bravo Lord Peacock. The entire series is out now, so make sure y'all go and watch it. It's really, 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 really good. Um, Phenomenal acting from all the actors. Terrence, I feel like in another year or two you'll be back in something else. I would like to see it because you are a phenomenal actor. Um, but yeah, I think that I'm super interested in seeing because I don't feel like I got complete closure from that. But make sure y'all watch that. Make sure y'all check out The Circle on Netflix. They have 8 episodes out now, that you can definitely watch. And then all of the Bravo shows, of course, are on the Bravo. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Real Housewives of Potomac, as well as um, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. They are all there. The season finale of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is coming up on this Wednesday, with the culmination with the release of Heather Gay's book, Bad Mormon, um, that she's releasing. And then the reunion will be coming up. However, I don't know how much of the reunion we're gonna be able to get through. I really think this probably just need to be a 1 episode reunion because there is no Jen Shah. And I don't think it would be fair to have a conversation about Jen without Jen being there. Although I know there's gonna be conversation about Jen because everybody wants to know where everybody stands at this point because they were very supportive of Jen, while she was awaiting to see what
Mm-mm.
was gonna happen. Um, so now we just have to see how that cookie crumbles. Um, as well as as well as because the only major thing that would be the discord between Whitney and Heather Gay, and I really think that just need to be a one episode thing, literally
Yeah.
be one episode. That's how I feel. Waiting on them to start asking about these questions for Real Housewives of Potomac, but I don't know how many more episodes they have to go in the
Oh,
season.
they already he already put on the on
Twitter,
Twitter.
when are they recording?
Um they're saying it's very soon. So if you got some questions for them, go
Let me go
ahead and
find Andy because I got plenty of questions. I do. Um. So yeah. So we so we'll be looking out for that. That's coming up really soon. Um. And shout out to Carlos King. I like that he is interviewing all of the reality girls on his platform as well. I do like that. I like that he's able to talk to everybody and get what little tea he can get pulled as well for his platform. So shout out to Carlos King. Let me tell you what I'm tired of. I'm sick of Andy being the host because I don't think Andy really gets to um I don't think it gets down to what needs to be gotten down to,
well,
right?
I don't know, but look, but my thing is this. This is now I might play devil's advocate, whatever you call it. However, we don't know what all has been asked because it's edited out.
But here's the thing: when we really need to know something, you're not
Cause
asking those
because I
questions.
wanted to see Giselle break down.
I didn't see Giselle break down, but I
Right. I
think
said I wanted to see
what
it.
but what I'm saying to you is I feel like they didn't show Giselle breaking down because Giselle is the face of the franchise. Giselle and Karen are the faces of the franchise. So for the most part, depending on what you're gonna allow to be seen or shown, that's gonna be a thing, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that
so
sure would
that's the
made
thing.
good TV.
Yeah, but I need somebody to get on there and actually ask the questions that need to be asked. I think Funky Deneva would be good for it. I really think Carlos King would be good. I just know that he has his contract with OWN. There are some people that I feel like that will sit on that couch, like let Nicki Minaj come back and ask some questions. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
I need to know the answers to these questions because I don't, that's not cool. At our period. I need somebody more than Andy. Because here's the thing, Andy, you are in charge of the editing. You get to tell them what the final is, right? So I'm I'm not you can play devil's advocate all you want to, but if he got a final say so in the cuts and the edits, guess what? I'm still not impressed. I'm still not impressed. Just my thought process. Okay, well, we are gonna sign off. Hopefully Sunday, Lord Jesus, God willing, I will be up for it. That is I'm trying to gauge whether or not I'm going right on back to work because the following week I go back to work on the 18th. And I'm really trying to gauge if that's something that I'm going to be able to do, um, or not. And the reason why I say that is because my energy level is not at 100% after this surgery. So I don't know if I'm gonna be home or if I'm gonna be back at work. I might push myself and go back to work, but I also don't want to have any type of setback. So I'm just trying to keep those things into perspective. Um, so hopefully Sunday I will be up for recording a single episode of the Size Up and not have a mashup between It's On and Size Up. So we hopefully will see you guys on Sunday. Make sure that you guys go to our page and subscribe to the YouTube official on YouTube, the Size Up official podcast. You also can follow us at the Size Up over on Facebook. And pretty soon we will have a TikTok page. I cannot wait. But we will be definitely getting into that. Wendy, tell them how they can reach you.
They can reach me on Facebook, Wendy Edinburgh Smith. They can also reach me on Instagram. I have two Instagram accounts. I have my personal account, which is at VLux, is VLux76. Then I have my business one, which is Wendy E. Hold on, dang it. Whew, hold on. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Hold on. Okay, it's Wendy ESMK. So it's Wendy, and then my like Edinburgh Smith, but the ES and then MK. Um, my TikTok is at VLux 76. And my website is www.marykay.com/WEDINGBOURGH.
Okay. Okay. All right. You guys can reach me over on Facebook, Vixia's Faith More, Instagram, Vixia's Faith, Twitter, Vixia's Faith, and TikTok, Vixia's Faith. You guys can definitely get at us. If y'all want advice on things, y'all want subjects to be discussed on the show, we're open to them. Just hit us up. And that's it. That's all we got for y'all. We will see y'all next week. Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh Lord, hold on.